Hello everyone, I hope this video finds everyone well. So today I'm doing something a little different. Got a new STI Hawk and picked it up the end of last week, and there's not a lot of information out there, so I decided, since I happen to have one and other people might be considering them, that I do a little video and see if I can help somebody out. So first of all, no magazine, well's clear, chamber's clear, so safe firearm. So let's start with the design. This guy's got the full-length dust cover, helps keep a little more weight to the into the barrel. Got these, I think they call them the nitro cocking serrations, and they're plenty grippy for me. I like them. You can grab them pretty well. Got a kind of subtle Hawk 5.0 logo there right above the slide release. 9mm, of course. It's got the starts of a semi-rounded top, like most 1911s have. Then it's got a flat top there, as you can see as the sun catches it. I do wish it had some milling on there, but for what it is and the price tag, yeah, can't beat it. And I do prefer this flat top versus a standard traditional rounded. This is my first 2011, so my first double stack 1911. I've shot and owned several Kembers, Springfields, things of that nature, and I do enjoy this guy. Its frame and barrel fit is way better than any gun I've ever owned. There's no movement at all in this barrel. Very minimal movement in the slide, and it just rolls off like it's on ball bearings. It's got this kind of hexagonal catch trigger with if you were to try to cock it that way, it's plenty to grab onto. I don't have a trigger gauge, so I couldn't tell you what the poundage is on this, but it's got, I'm guessing it's around 4 pounds just by past experience. It's got really short take up, as you can see. I mean, real short. Then it's got a nice clean crisp break. Then real short reset. It's got the standard length magazine release, so it'll fit in the IDPA box. I can just get it with my thumb with my standard grip. Got the memory bump on the dovetail here. Nice generous well. I'm used to shooting single stack 1911s with no mag well, so this thing's a big gaping maw that is super easy to load. Comes with a Dawson front fiber optic. Came with the red, which is what I'm used to. It also came with, I believe, orange and I know green. Lots of people seem to recommend green, so I might give that a try, but I'm used to the red, so I think I'll leave these in for right now. Then it's got the Heine ledge rear sights, blacked out. This is actually what my preferred sight picture is. I normally shoot with blacked out rears, so this probably keep it this way. I might get the adjustable one, but my gun here came from at least my stock ammo that I was shooting the other day. It's pretty dead on, so I don't really need the adjustables. So we'll see. Got out to, when I picked it up, I got to shoot maybe 115, 120 rounds out of the before the range closed and kicked me out. So didn't get to shoot as much as I wanted. In my area, there's pretty much only IDPA. There's one USPSA match. It's about 2.5 hours away. I've never gone out there. I've always wanted to, so maybe one day I'll make it. It comes with the stock 2 126mm STI Gen 2 mags. So I got 2 of these guys. So for IDPA, you need 3 mags. So I kind of splurged and got one of these MBX mags. Everyone seems really impressed with them. So I figured give one a try, see how it works out. It's got this angular base plate, so it'll fit into the IDPA box, because if it had the standard flat one, it would actually not fit in the box. I did notice that the lip here is slightly different, and then the follower is slightly different. Didn't notice any performance difference between the two. So as you can see, this is cut way down here. This guy's got a little bit different profile, but both work, both fed just fine. So we'll see. Not sure what I'll do in the future. I wouldn't mind having lots of mags that I could just load up and go out to a match and not have to worry about reloading between the things, but being with the cost on these guys, that might be a little prohibitive for now. But firearm shot well, was super impressed with it. This is my first 2011, as I said. I've got fairly large hands and my grip was able to get onto it pretty well. I should do a thumbs forward grip so I can get quite a bit of that palm on the gun. It is a little bit slippery right there, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm toyed with the idea of buying a new grip and switching it out, as well as maybe just doing the stippling myself. I really want a double undercut on it so I can get a little bit better grip and a little bit higher on the bore access. So that might be one of the things I change in the future. Also considered one of the slim tactical magwells, but this thing seems pretty generous as it is compared to what I'm used to, so maybe not. Other things that I got is got one of these double alpha gear IDPA PDR Pro 2s. So I wanted to do maybe a competition belt, but since they're not legal in IDPA, couldn't do that. So got the tension dialed in pretty good. These screws are pretty long, so my puppy's trying to jump in my lap. So I'm probably going to cut these guys down a little bit so they don't get caught on clothes or anything. The one thing that was kind of odd, I guess since this is a generic holster, is this right here actually came further out and then dropped down. And this part right here was actually, when I was holstering the gun, was actually catching on this part of the frame right after the trigger guard. And as you can see, it was starting to scar up the that little ledge right there. So had to get in here with my Dremel and cut off about a 1/4 inch or so and kind of tuck it in that way, and then rounded it off, got it all nice and flush, not sharp anymore. So that's a good thing about Kydex, is you can alter them to fit your need. Tension's all dialed in. It's got a pretty good grab on the gun, but it's loose enough to pull easy. So first time I've ever used double alpha gear stuff. Pretty happy with it. Pretty nice, strong Kydex. Needed some double stack magazine pouches since all mine are single stack. And my Glock ones wouldn't work either. So I like Tech Lock. That's my preferred belt method, because those little clippy things that grab your belt, the magazine always, when you go to grab, just wiggles. So I really like Tech Lock. So I was happy I found these Blade Tech ones on Shooter's Connection. They were 50% off. They were down to 19 bucks instead of the normal 40 that they normally are. Still got to work on the tension. It's not quite where I want it. It's still a little tight. Ugh. But we'll see. So I need to play around with that a little bit more. But I didn't want them falling out either. So this is the first time I've had Tech Locks that have these lock on them. So it took me a minute or so of playing with it to figure out that you just pull down and it kind of folds down. I was trying to flip it out that way. I was trying to pinch it. So, but yeah, so do that, then your standard pinch, then it goes over your belt. So that was that. So fairly happy with these little guys. So here's my targets. I was at 15 feet. This was my first set of 5 shots. I think this was my second or my third shot. I think it was my gripper, just didn't pull the trigger right, something. It was definitely me, not the gun. Was noticing that all these were a little bit low. And then, so then I realized that my previous Springfield, I must have been, sights must not have been quite as aligned as this guy. So my habit was to bury my front post a little bit, but with this gun, it's the sights are much more on point, And so I started correcting myself and not burying that front post. And this was my second group of 5 here. As you can see, they're a lot closer to accurate. I was pulling it a little bit left, but not too bad. This is my third set here. And as you can see, if I get this target folded, as you can see, was a lot more on aim and even a little high on a couple of shots. So not too bad for first couple of shots of the gun. Then I started practicing some double taps, going tap, 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 with very little weight between them. I did 5 sets, so 10 shots. Fairly, as you can see, fairly vertical. Was starting off here, so these were generally my first shots. Then I was compensating a little bit too much. Need to work on my grip a little bit to get these guys a little bit tighter. Then I had 2 flyers over here to the left. So all in all, not too bad. Then at the end, right before they kicked me out, I decided to push all the way out to the max this range has. It's about 60 feet, if I'm not mistaken. These 2 down here are my first 2. So then I brought my point of aim up a little bit. They were still a little bit low, so I brought them up quite a little bit more. I think it was right about here for point of aim. And they pulled in pretty good. So all these guys would be in the down 0 section of an IDPA target at 60 feet. So I was fairly happy with that. And my IDPA group doesn't shoot out this far too often, maybe 1 or 2 targets a match. So being all these would be in a down 0, I'm pretty happy. I was shooting at a pretty fast pace too, so I could get out there without making the guys stay late. So all in all, pretty good. I've been very happy with the gun so far. Got my first IDPA match next Tuesday, so maybe I'll do a follow-up video, checking back in, let you know how I do. If you have any questions, feel free to ask away. If I can, I'll help you out. But being my first STI, I'm not super familiar with it. I'm reading all I can. But other than that, I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and remember, be safe, shoot well.